So 2018 was a rocky year for movies, more specifically blockbusters. And for the most part, I try to see and review as much as I can with garbage such as Pacific Rim Uprising and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. But sometimes there are just movies that come out and I just have no intention of seeing. Well, in late August of this year, I traveled all the way to America to attend the 3rd annual Genre Blast Film Festival held at the Alamo Drafthouse in Winchester. This was to represent our film Lieutenant Jangles, to which we won the Audience Choice, Jury's Choice, and Best Soundtrack, and has also been crushing it at other film festivals since.
Alright, now it's on.
But more about that whole adventure in a separate video. So going from Brisbane, Australia to Virginia, USA was about 25 hours worth of flights, to and back. And seeing as I would be stuck on planes for that long, I figured I might catch up on the movies that I actually passed on in cinemas, seeing as I didn't have to pay for them. So here we go, gang.
George? You okay? Ready to do this, buddy?
First up is The Rock vs. Monsters, aka Rampage. So these are now my early warnings to not see a film. It's going to be based on an old video game, it's going to star The Rock, and the trailer will look identical to something that just came out that was successful. Rampage Doom, old game, The Rock, Godzilla, and Resident Evil. What a coincidence! So you're gonna have to bear with me. I saw all these movies months and months and months ago, and they were also very unmemorable. So it's gonna be a struggle to discuss plot details, which will be even harder because most of them didn't have plots. So Rampage starts off in a space station. It's just some lady floating around and her whole crew has been eaten by some unseen monster. And as the events play out, it's revealed that the monster is a lab rat that has been genetically mutated to be like much bigger. So there is some gas or whatever that makes things bigger. I think it was alien, may as well be. So then the scientist woman tries to save the leftover monster gas, but the space station blows up and it kills her and the rat, and the vials of gas make their way to the planet. Cut to The Rock, just your everyday average fucking ripped muscle freak primatologist who is also ex-military, Navy SEAL, Marine, something, because of course he is. He is also working at a zoo with his best friend in the whole world, George, the albino gorilla. And so The Rock and George communicate through sign language. That used to be compelling. So for some reason the ape needs to speak English through sign language just for a stupid joke to come back around at the end of the movie. And so this alien monster gas lands in a forest near a wolf and in a lake near a crocodile and in George's enclosure. And then it queefs in their face and then the next day they are like the size of skyscrapers. Because we can't wait. We need monsters now. It's like Ninja Turtles 2 when they spend like a while having Tokka and Razor grow to monster size from the ooze. But at the end they wanted Shredder to grow to monster size too. But they didn't want to play by their own rules that they established, so he just drinks the ooze and now not only does he grow to monster size, but also his armor. But whatever. We still do rushing like that in movies today. Also, not saying that Secret of the Ooze is a bad film. Far from it. Watch that over Rampage. And so the paper-thin plot continues. Just get the monkey big, have him meet the wolf, and then they fight the crocodile. But since CGI is expensive, we need to pad the movie out with boring, basic, by-the-numbers screenwriting. And the characters just saying the plot as it happens. George is growing. He's gonna be a problem. He's gonna destroy the whole everything. He's gonna team up with the wolf. I know military tactics, so we need a helicopter. And blah, blah, blah. Also, there is like this brother and sister villain duo, and they just hang out in their evil lair and follow the progress of the monsters. This is my frustration with the Michael Bay Transformers movies. I know the movies leading to monsters fighting. You know the movies leading to monsters fighting. But we have to sit through the boring human plot. Why not just have monsters fighting the whole movie? But that's the issue. The end result is CGI monster destruction porn. but the budget can't afford to have monsters fighting the whole time. Yet the script can't get any other attention. Once again, the script is just fluff. Plug in the cliches to get us from this scene to that scene to the end scene. And I wish that I could just recommend this movie as like a switch your brain off and have fun, but you can't when you have to sit through a boring slog of uninteresting dialogue. It's like when you hear people say, oh man, I want to like take acid and then watch Doctor Strange. That'd be like trippy. And it's like, no you don't. What you want to do is watch a compilation of the trippy scenes on YouTube while on acid. Sitting through a 2.5 hour movie of just talking while on acid would be a nightmare. Either that or you just fall asleep instantly. Also, I know this movie isn't meant to be realistic. I get it. But the slightest bit of realism can help hold your wacky concept like this together. And the perfect thing to sum up this whole movie is this dialogue from The Rock in the trailer.
Of course the wolf flies.
Not only this line, but also this shot. All I see is The Rock standing on a green screen, and they gave him a line that would be in a Marvel movie. Wouldn't it be funny to point out how the flying wolf is dumb just like the original game? And also The Rock's delivery is like, he just isn't selling what's happening in the film. Like, Christ, dramatic acting wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger's strong suit, but I believed him when he feared the Predator. And like the rest of the actors, he had no idea what the Predator even looked like, because it was an invisible visual effect during the main shoot of the film. So they're all just looking at nothing. Here they can show The Rock concept art of the monsters, and he has a good idea of what they look like.
Well, that sucks.
Like, I have nothing against the guy personally, but all the blockbusters that he's in these days, he just looks like he's phoning it in. And he's just like sitting on a green screen, like there's no worries. Like, it just feels like a fake performance. Also, that brings up another point.
Of course the wolf flies.
Of course the wolf flies. Of course the crocodile has like a Dilophosaurus frill neck and tusks. But why doesn't the gorilla have some extra feature? Like a scorpion stinger tail? Ah, fuck it. Moving on. Now, I had absolutely no interest in seeing this movie. The last Spielberg movie that I saw in the cinema was Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. His career doesn't interest me anymore, and his glory days are well behind him in my opinion. And as far as I can tell, all he wants to make now is historical, cultural movies, and that's fine. You do you, Stevie. So then Ready Player One comes out. It was a book first, and then it was like a really expensive movie. And so I passed on seeing this movie because the gimmick seemed annoying to me. VR is now the hot craze, 80s nostalgia, chuck in a dystopian future, and it basically writes itself. So the movie was just It's essentially a 2.5 hour video for people who do reaction videos. When a popular character comes on screen,
So desperately that you are. Yet to fail. Destiny still alive.
and it's like, we've had 2 Avengers movies, and basically a third one at this point. You know who's in it. You know who's going to be in the movie. And you're just reacting to what you're seeing. But yeah, this whole movie is an, oh my god, I know that character. Oh my god, I know that character. And them. And them. And them. And I just don't get that appeal. Also, the movie looks unrealistic because they are really pushing the video game angle. Like, have the Oasis actually resemble a video game. Maybe use a good engine, like that Neil Blomkamp web series, Adam. Or just go full realistic. But it can't be realistic. It has to be heightened with movie CGI. That just looks like an awful video game anyway. Another big frustration is how nostalgic for the 80s this movie is. Why? It's clearly aimed at this current world of gaming and pop culture. And it's like set in the year 2045. If teenagers now aren't earning awesome nerd status for knowing the names of the high schools from The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Pretty in Pink, they won't be then. Also, wow, you recreated scenes from The Shining. What teenagers are watching The Shining without being bored and complaining about how boring it is? The DeLorean, the T-Rex, Chucky, Take On Me. It also feels weird that Spielberg himself is making a movie that homages his own success. He's one of these great directors who like lost their way of practical filmmaking and they think that CGI is the best thing ever because back then we couldn't do the shark in CGI. All we had to do is use this actual giant mechanical prop that in the future will end up looking like an Australian wheelie bin. And I was also thinking this movie must have been so expensive for not only making the 3D models of so many iconic characters, but also the rights to those characters. But while watching this movie, I could see some obvious corner cutting. See, I work in visual effects and I know the process of 3D modeling and adding texture and bump maps and all that. And I started to recognize the 3D models. Not just the characters I know, but also specifically which version they are from. I noticed that the Ninja Turtles were the latest version from those cash grab reboots. Then it dawned on me. All they had to do was go to the companies that already had the 3D models built and just get it off them. So if they needed Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, they just go to NetherRealm Studios and get that model off them. And there would be things they would make specifically for the movie, like the Iron Giant and Gundam and Battletoads. But yeah, most likely the rest were just taken from other game studios and movie developers, and anything that wasn't made already was just slapped together. I haven't even mentioned the plot, but that doesn't even matter. Boy meets girl in video game world. Want to be together. Evil businessman wants to own the video game world. Gotta collect all the keys so the wizard can grant you all of your wildest dreams. The movie isn't like frustrating or the worst thing ever, like Transformers 5, but it's just with the high pitch. Like, I honestly believe a movie has already come out and done this gimmick properly, and it's called Tron Legacy. Even though it hasn't got a pop cultural reference every 2 microseconds, like, you could just spend less time looking up all of your favorite characters in a quick Google search. I actually recommend the music video to the song Artemis and Percival from Gunship. Now, I don't care how great the book is with its 80s cultural references, yet modern day VR tech gimmick. This music video does everything that the movie and I guess the book try to do, and it's homaging both of them. The right amount of 80s nostalgia and tells a better story.
You're after something.
Solo. The biggest box office bomb for Disney since The Lone Ranger. This movie lost so much money. Now, this movie wasn't the worst thing I have ever seen. I was just expecting a tonal mess like Suicide Squad or Justice League due to the reshoots. But not quite. Now, despite some fun things in it, no one asked for this movie. No one wanted this movie. And I'm also glad it bombed hard, because studios need to drop this fucking annoying, desperate rush to start expanded universes. You can't just give yourself a franchise before you've proven yourself. This actor signed up for a 3-picture deal before the world was sold on a young Han Solo. And that's a big sell. It'd be like starting a movie franchise about a young Tony Stark before he had the Iron Man suit. And it's like, what? It would be a franchise about him learning to be a womanizing alcoholic? But anyway, we now have a Han Solo prequel, and it was fine. It was an interesting refresher after how The Force Awakens returned us to the magic and wonder of Star Wars. Then we got 2 miserable, bland movies that sucked all the life out, and now we have super funny and wacky again. But for the most part, a very pointless movie. This movie didn't give you anything you needed to get out of the character. Aside from his gun and last name, like, can't just get the gun from wherever, from like a gun store, or steal it? And also they make this stupid point of someone giving him the last name of Solo, as if it's a staple of his character. Yet in A New Hope, he is introduced with his inseparable best friend Chewbacca. Also, before he was called Solo, he has this girlfriend that they went on high-speed chases with all the time. Doesn't seem quite Solo to me. When I first heard that the guy who was playing Han Solo was the guy from Hail Caesar, it actually caught my interest, because in that movie he was really good at playing one of them old-timey male actors. You know, who was already 45 when he was 19. Because back then there was no such thing as a teenager. But what that movie was going for, that this movie wasn't, was old school Hollywood. Not just in terms of the filmmaking, but also the acting. And that's why trying to tell the adventures of a young Han Solo was never going to work. There is a very specific reason why Harrison Ford is still an iconic actor to this day. Like, this wasn't just a case of casting someone to imitate Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford in the 70s was what you would call, one of those things that doesn't really exist anymore. Oh yeah, man. And he brought his manliness to any part he played. The only reason he was in Star Wars was because George Lucas met him while he was installing a door in Francis Ford Coppola's office. Men! Look at Jaws, Roy Scheider. His character is like a former deputy from New York who became the sheriff in this little community on Amity Island, and he's inexperienced. But he was already a man. Quint's like an old sea dog. There's even Hooper, who Quint keeps calling a kid the whole film.
Give me your hands. You got city hands, Mr. Hooper. Been counting money all your life.
All right. Hey, I don't need this. I don't need this working class hero crap.
And even he has a massive beard. Al Pacino in Scarface. Could you guess that this was a Hollywood actor? Our Lord and Savior, Crocodile Dundee, played by the great Paul Hogan. He was like 40 in that movie. Did people love him for his boyish charm? And with this Han Solo, young Harrison Ford was just one of them old school actors who brought that cowboy short temper to the part. Like the would become violent if you called him chicken male archetype. This Han Solo never had that dramatic temper.
You're a great help to us. You're a natural leader.
No, that's not it. Come on. Come on.
You're imagining things.
Am I? Then why are you following me? Afraid I was gonna leave without giving you a goodbye kiss?
I just assumed he's a Wookiee.
I can arrange that. You can use a good kiss.
Like, this is an important trait of not just Han Solo, but also how Harrison Ford acts, and it was just missing from this movie amongst other things. Donald Glover as a young Lando was the same, just trying to imitate an old school smooth jive Billy D. Williams with that stupid beard. Like, just commit to the old school moustache. Or since he's younger, don't have a moustache. Also, talking about the pointless origin of Han Solo, they try to give him some sad thing at the end to like make him damaged. His girlfriend betrays him, so he is now won't trust people or anyone. Han Solo didn't need this. He didn't need to learn a life lesson in this movie. How this movie was meant to go is he was meant to be like a jerk who was constantly ripping off people. And all of your protagonists are trying to push him in the right direction, just like the original trilogy. But then the movie is meant to end with him still being the same old asshole and possibly ripping off the good guys that you established. Because that's who he is at the start of A New Hope. Treat it like an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Just as you think these characters are going to learn something new and will be a better person because of it, well nah, each episode ends with them being the same old assholes. And it's great. So prequels need to stop. It's like, you know the Big Bang that started the universe? Well, there was an even bigger bang before that, and it sucked.
What's your name?
Laura
Surname?
Croft.
So, Tomb Raider. I gotta be honest, I don't remember a single thing from this movie at all. It had a fun like push bike chase at the start, and then a whole bunch of stuff happened, and then when Lara Croft went to some country, I thought it was reaching the third act, and then I noticed it was only 40 minutes in, and I turned it off. And that's all I have to say about Tomb Raider. And that's basically my lost trash of 2018. There were still movies that came out this year that I had no intention of seeing, and they also weren't available on my flight to America, like The Meg or Skyscraper. He had 2 movies this year. I was once in JB Hi-Fi and I saw 2 jungle-themed rock movies next to each other, and they may as well have just been a part of the same franchise. So what was the worst movie you saw this year? Let us know in the comments whether it was one of these movies, or it was a movie I didn't review this year, or a movie I didn't even see this year. I can't even remember what my worst movie of this year is. Probably a toss-up between Jurassic World 2 or Pacific Rim 2. But those movies have already left my brain. Anyway, talking about these stinkers is starting to burn my nostrils. I need to get some fresh air before the stench returns for these soon-to-be buy 2 get 1 free classics at your local JB Hi-Fi. Thanks for watching!